All right, everybody. Thanks for coming. Welcome, Vincenzo. Hello, Greg. If you're coming in, make sure to say hi. It'll be good to see you. Tell us where you're from. Vincenzo, we already know that you're in Italy. So, first day at the controls for me. Let's hope we don't break everything. I do want to say welcome. I hope you're doing well today. It's good to see you. And we are planning on starting in 6 minutes. So, enjoy the music. We'll see you in a second.
I can hear you. Yes, I can. All right, great. Thank you so much, Jeff, for that nice intro. I appreciate it. I'm going to go ahead and take off my headphones. So, welcome to the presentation today, everybody. I am super excited today to be showing you MetaStock 18. MetaStock 18, of course, our newest release just came out yesterday. We decided to release on Valentine's Day because we love you guys. But in today's video, we're going to be talking about all these new amazing features. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time right now talking about them because we need to get started and start with a disclaimer. So let's go ahead and read the disclaimer and then we'll get right into the presentation. This demonstration is designed to instruct you on using MetaStock and accompanying software plugins, and is not a recommendation to buy or sell, but rather guidelines to interpreting and using the specific indicators and features within the software. The information, software, and techniques presented today should only be used by investors who are aware of the risk inherent in trading. MetaStock shall have no liability for any investment decisions based on use of the software, any trading strategies, or any information provided in connection with the company. Okay. It sounds like we're having an audio issue. Jeff, they can hear me. Okay, they just couldn't hear Jeff. Okay. All right, so we're good to go. Everybody can hear me. That's good news. Okay, so what we're going to be talking about in today's presentation is MetaStock 18. So we have spent the last several years taking a look at the chart that's built into MetaStock. The core of MetaStock is the chart that's in there. And we've decided that we wanted to rebuild it from the ground up. And when you build an amazing chart, you really have to take a hard look at it. And MetaStock's chart has always been one of the most popular and favorite features of people in MetaStock. So when we were working on this and bringing in the new chart, we wanted to make sure that we brought in both amazing new features, but kept all the amazing things that the chart could do. So we're going to talk about everything that we've put together in this new chart as we go through. So we've updated the charting capabilities, charting styles. We've done a lot to the indicators and drawing tools, and we'll go through all that as we go through the presentation. We're going to talk about some Power Console updates, how we've made MetaStock easier to use inside the Power Console. Option scope, we've put in some new risk option strategies, a sentiment viewer for put-call ratios, and also the ability to scan for top options, and we'll talk about that. New gainers losers bar inside of the quote center. And then we're going to talk about some new systems and strategies. So we've got a lot to cover. So let's just go ahead and jump right into it. And let's start here with the chart. Now what I'm going to do is we're going to spend our time in MetaStock. I want to show you all these awesome new features. So the very first thing we're going to start with is just the overall look of the chart. So when you come into the chart, you're going to notice that is a lot more, it's kind of hard to quantify really. It's a lot crisper, it's sharper, it's easier to see, and you're going to see a lot of that as we go through the presentation. Now the very first thing I want to show you are the charting styles, because we made some big changes to how the charting styles work inside of MetaStock. So you'll notice the chart that I'm looking at actually shows filled candles. So this is our default template now. So the filled candles came about because we have a lot of people over the years who have asked us to be able to fill both the up and the down candles instead of just the traditional down candles. So we've worked to put that in there, make it kind of a standardized view so you can see that, but it's also still there so you can see any of your other charting styles that you want to see or traditional candles. So let's go ahead and look at what you can do. I'm just going to double click in here. same as you would in an older version of MetaStock, but you'll notice this window looks very different now. There's a lot more customization that you can do with your different charting styles. So first of all, here's the standard charting styles drop down. We'll stick with candlesticks for a moment, and then we'll look at some of the other ones. But here you can come in here and you can set your up color, your down color, but now you can set your fill colors. So you can see here I have a default, and by default, it'll match the color of the candle. I can go in and I can change that if I want to. If I want it to be blue for the fill, or purple, whatever you'd like to do, you can set that. You can also set transparency now too. So if I wanted a lighter transparency rather than a darker transparency, I can set that. And this is actually one of the things I love. I love being able to set transparency to what I want. And when I do that, you'll see the colors kind of dim down a little bit, and you can kind of manipulate that in the way that you want to. So let's go ahead and let's show you some of the other calculations here you can do. So when you do the calculations, you can set your candles to calculate how you want to as well. So you can change your up-down mode from close to close or open to close, depending on how you like to view the candles. And then you can always set your fill mode to always fill, or you can set close less than open. So there's a lot of customizations in here now with candlesticks. This has been a big user request over the years, is these types of customizations. So this is kind of one of the first things that we changed. And you can do these same customizations with CandleVolume, the EquiVolume. Bars, you can change your up-down method. This is new as well. Previously in the older versions, you could only do one version. So this is great. This one's a big one. Heiken-Ashi, we've had a lot of requests over the years for Heiken-Ashi charts. So we have put this into MetaStock 18 for you. So if I change this to Heiken-Ashi, and if you're not familiar with Heiken-Ashi, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it today. We'll have other webinars that will cover that. But you'll see it looks very different than a traditional candlestick. And it's a great way to actually look at a particular stock or future crypto, whatever you're looking at, in a smoothed out way, because it's more of an average based bar or candle rather than a standard open, high, low, close candle. So you're looking at averages. So it kind of takes out gaps and things like that to help you see truer trends. So it's a great new charting style with the Heiken-Ashi in there. Other things we've done with this is actually added 6 new line plot styles as well. So if I come in here now to line, you'll see this plot style option where I can choose from an array of different plot styles. So if I choose like a stepped line, it will plot in a stepped line and respect my up-down colors. I can do things like a filled line, so you can see more of a mountain type of view. The stepped filled line kind of goes along this way. Dot is just a view to view dots, and then finally histogram, a standard histogram. So these are now all applicable to charting styles as well. Vincenzo over in YouTube is saying Heiken-Ashi is a must. Agreed. That's why we made sure that that was in there for this release. So absolutely critical. So let's go ahead and take this back to candlesticks. So you can see we have made a lot of changes there to that particular view, being able to customize and work with your different charting styles and making it a lot more flexible to be able to see them how you want to see them. So which is a great addition to it. So there's the charting styles and customizations. We just went through that. The next one's awesome, is themes. In MetaStock 17 and previous, if you wanted to change the colors of the chart, you'd have to go into inner window properties. You'd have to kind of mess with all the colors, and it gets a little bit cumbersome the way you had to do it. So we wanted to modernize that and make it easy for you to just switch colors and change themes. So we've built in these 16 different themes for you. If I go over here back to MetaStock, you're going to notice this little paint palette down here in the right-hand corner. And if I just choose that, it'll pop open the different themes for you. And you can choose any of these themes, and you'll see it'll just change all the colors for you as you go through. Now, what's really cool about these themes that I like is that when you change colors in the background, MetaStock's going to be super smart for you, and it's going to try and adjust those background color themes for you, the colors of your charts, indicators to match the color of your theme. Because one thing that would happen previously is you would change the color of something and it didn't, and if you had something on your chart that was that color, it would disappear and you would wonder where it went. So MetaStock is smart now and can adapt your theme to match your colors. So you can see as I change colors, it will automatically adapt and do this. You'll see we have gradient colors in there. It may not come across it on the webcast, but you'll have a gradient in there if you want it. My favorite here is the black steel kind of look. It kind of gives this orange and different colors throughout it. So themes are a great addition to MetaStock 18 and letting you just quickly change colors. And now when you save a template, it will save that as part of your template as well. So theme saving is part of a template as well. Okay, and of course, feel free to ask questions in YouTube chat or go to webinar chat, and we will certainly answer either of those and address those as they come in. All right, so that is customization of charts and themes. Let's talk about this scroll preview. This scroll preview is one of my favorite new features inside of 18. So let me go ahead and just change the theme back to white here for a moment. And what this scroll feature is traditionally in MetaStock, you can come down here and you can still do this. So you can zoom in and out of a chart if you want to. But what you're going to notice is this new additional bar down here. And what this scroll bar does is it's actually showing you a preview of all the data that you have loaded. So I can see right now, I am highlighted right here. So this is the area of the chart that I'm looking at. But here I have a lot of other data loaded. So if I grab this scroll bar and I move it back in time, you'll see I'm highlighted now for this whole area. If I just zoom this back in and say I want to view a particular area of the chart, let's say I wanted to view the Corona crash back here, I can actually just hover my mouse over it and click on it right in the center, and it'll center to where I clicked my mouse. So that way it'll zoom around the chart just by clicking, so I don't have to scroll back and forth and try and figure out where something happened on a chart. I can see the preview down here, and then I can scroll forward and back. So it's actually an awesome way to do this. Even if I have a larger view, if I click, it'll zoom right there for me. So this makes it really easy to move around a chart. And of course, like I said, you can still do the minus and the plus, or you can use this scroll function. And I love that, just clicking, jumping right to a part on the chart. It makes analysis so easy to be able to move around quickly and kind of see what's going on. So the scroll preview, awesome new function of this. Let's see, click to zoom, highlight areas, preview all available data. We talked about all that. All right, so indicators. Okay, so we've done a lot with indicators, and let me show you some of the kind of the cool things as MetaStock users you're going to love and appreciate as we go through this. So the very first thing that we've done is we've made the built-in indicators smart. And what I mean by that is if I come in here and let's just say, we'll start with a moving average. If I were to put a moving average on a chart and I just drag it into the screen, it will, because it's smart, it will know that it needs to plot over the chart. If I were to do something like a MACD, let's grab the MACD, and if I drag it and I drop it here on the chart, it doesn't really belong right over the chart. The MACD actually belongs in its own window. So MetaStock's going to be smart enough to let you know that it's going to go into its own window, and it'll auto plot into its own window. So now you don't have to try and figure out where something's supposed to go. It's going to know it automatically for you. So that's going to make your life a lot easier when you're plotting indicators and moving different things around. Okay, so that's a big enhancement there. Other things that we've done is if I go into the properties here of this indicator, we've actually added in a lot more customization again. So if I come in here to plot style, I have these new plot styles. So we're not changing we're changing it based off of a plot style rather than some of the previous features that we've had in there. So if we just click line, which is what we have, I can view it as a stepped line, a step filled line as before, as we were showing in those plot styles with charts. So you can see that'll change. I like this view. I like this shading view where we can kind of shade things in and out. And I'll show you some other ways, but that's a great addition. So if I do my color, I can also change my fill color. So let's just say I want blue here, and I want that a little more transparent. Maybe I just want a really light shading there. I could apply that, and you can see I can kind of have my line, and I can kind of shade out things if I want to say if it's above or below. So you can really customize these now. And once I've set all this up and done my customizations, and this is awesome, is I can come in here to defaults, and I can save now these defaults. So if you make changes to indicators, colors, settings, all this, it's all customizable and savable. So you don't have to go back and change it every time you work with it, which will make your life easier. That's kind of awesome. You know, after working with this for a while and being able to do this, it is going to make your life easier. So you just come in here, and if you're looking at a current page, would be basically the tab that you're on. Or if you want to save everything you've set up in the moving averages, you can do that just by clicking Save All Pages as Default. So that's an awesome addition. Some other things, let's grab Bollinger Bands. This is a great example of some other things that we've done. So if I just come over here to Color Style, you'll notice this window looks a little different. One of the things that you would have to do in older versions of MetaStock is if you were working with something that had multiple plots, like Bollinger Bands where you have 3 plots, you would have to go in to each line to change the color. And that's not true anymore. It's all in one window. So I can change my upper band to, say my upper band to green, my middle band to blue, and my bottom band to red. And I'll just leave the fill as it's set here. And you'll see that plots my upper line's green, my bottom line's red, and my middle line's blue. And you can see we now have that fill in between Bollinger Bands as well, or between envelopes that you can use as well. So some awesome changes there. Now, when you're doing this, you can also say, well, I don't want to view the middle line. So you can just make that invisible, and you'll see that'll take it out there. I can put it back in. And I can also save this again. So once I set all my parameters, I can save it, and it will plot like that every time I go back and forth with it. Let's just delete this, and let's show you one other example. Let's just do the MACD just as another example. Click OK. And again, here's all the parameters. You can change each line all in one place, so you don't have to go into multiple indicators. So some great additions there. Other things that we've done with indicators, besides all that, is we've added in a couple of new built-in indicators in the MetaStock. We have a lot of people ask for the MACD histogram. So we've added that as a default indicator. So if I just bring that in and plot it and hit OK, it'll do its smart thing, plot in its own window, and plot the MACD histogram for you. So very easy to plot a MACD histogram. And then finally, we've also added in a built-in volume up-down indicator. So what that means is you can now just have it plot, well, we'll delete it so we can show you here. Let's take that off the chart. And let's find volume up-down. I've got it right here. So I'll just plot it. And when it plots, it's going to ask me how I want to view it. I can view it in all those same plot styles if I want to. So there's lots of different ways to look at the volume now. But I can also plot this based off of close or volume. And let me show you what I mean. So if I plot this on close, and let's just zoom in here. So you can see that right now, I am calculating this on close. So as the close comes in, if close is lower than the previous bar, it'll be red. If it's higher than the next bar, it'll be green, okay? If I go in here and I change that to volume, it's going to look at the previous day's volume and will plot off of volume. All right, so let's see. So that's that's another indicator right there, how you can do that. Let's see if I missed anything here. Plot styles, fill between envelopes, all values plot in the title bar. So what that is, if I were to put the moving average back on my chart, previously when you plot the moving average or things that were plotted over the main chart, you would not see those values in the title bar, but you do now. So that's what that is. Smart plotting indicators, built-in indicators, Ichimoku. So we have had lots of requests for this, for the Ichimoku to plot into the future as it should. So now when you plot the Ichimoku, you'll see that it will plot into the future, the 26 bars that are required. You can come in here and you can change that shift if you want to. And then you can change all the different colors and save all that depending on how you want to view it. But that is now built in, so you can now plot into the future with the Ichimoku. So that is a great addition there. And then the p variable, if you use the p variable, you know what this is. I'm not going to go deep into the p variable. But you can finally plot the, when you plot an indicator, it'll ask you for the field that you want it to calculate on automatically. So you don't have to define it in the text. You can actually, it'll actually just read it for you automatically, which is awesome. Okay, drawing tools. We've made some awesome updates to drawing tools. So what I'm going to do here is, first of all, come over here to drawing tools, and everything in MetaStock 18 feels familiar. It's the same workflows that you're used to, but with a lot of these enhancements. So if you come over here to drawing tools, it's going to feel very much the same. If I click on crosshairs, we'll start there and work our way down. So if I turn on crosshairs, you'll notice now it has, on the right-hand side, you can see the price where I currently am, and on the bottom, it shows the date where I currently am. So as I move through, it will move with me and show the values of where I am on the chart. And that was a big user request there. Now this next one is actually a bigger user request that we've had for quite some time. Let me zoom back here and let's just show the trend line. So when I plot a trend line, let's just plot something here. This isn't really how you draw a trend line, but I want to show you what we're doing. So if I draw a trend line, it's going to draw that trend line just as it always has. But if I go, first of all, if I hover over it, it will give you all the details of the trend line, what the slope of the trend line is. It'll tell you how many periods that trend line is drawn over. And then I can go into the properties by double clicking, and I have a lot of new functionality that I can add to the trend line. So if I show this, I have a left arrow, right arrow, and if I put those on the chart, you'll see that up here. Now, why would I want arrows on my chart? Well, a lot of people, on my trend line, excuse me, a lot of people like to make notes on things. So you can use the trend line now to point at something and then put your text box after it and have it actually point to where you need it to. So that's been a big user request from people for quite some time. So if I put this back now and double click on it again, you'll see these additional labels here. So I have the option to show label, where I can do performance info or performance info points. So I have percent change or points. Let's just do percent change. So you can see that that is a 30%, 29.86% move over that period of time. I can change that to points. I can see how many points that moved. So that moved 78.46 points. I can also have it show the number of bars in there, or I can make my own custom label. So if I were to say Pelly's trend, so you can see that, and you can then plot that right there. Okay, so let's put it back to percent change and show number of bars. Now, if you want this to show this way every time you plot it, again, you can come in here and you can save the current page as default, and then it will remember that trend line setting every time you do it. Let's actually make one other change here. Let's come over here to color style. And let's say I want my trend lines to be green and not blue. And then I save that current page, all pages as default. We'll save our changes there. You'll see it changes to green. Let's go ahead and delete that now. And if I redraw this in a different location. All right. So let's go ahead and you'll see that there, that we have that plot right there, and we are now doing that by default. So that is a huge addition there. Okay, let's go ahead and delete that. And now let's go ahead and go through some of these other trend lines. So we've made these changes so you can save all of these settings inside your trend lines, inside your Fibonacci's, inside any of the different tools that you've done. So if I come in here and I do Fibonacci retracements, let's go ahead and draw on our Fibonacci retracements. Now you'll see, first of all, one of the big changes here is you can see both the price and the percentage. So this is all set in here now. I can come into my parameters. And inside MetaStock, the older versions of MetaStock, you could add in custom lines. So if I wanted to add in, say, a 75% line, I could add that, and MetaStock previous versions would do that. But now I can save it, which is one of the big things. But I can also come in here and I can change my lines by my setting and my percentages by color. So if I prefer a different color for different percentages, I can do that. I want red. And then I can also change this to dotted. And when I plot that, you'll see that line comes in that color. And now when I save this, it will now plot that way every time that I do it. Okay, so it's now easier to be able to save these settings and go through and do it. So again, these are big requests from users over the years, these abilities to be able to do this. So let's go ahead and click OK there. So that's Fibonacci. Some other trend line enhancements that we've done. We worked with Don Fishback, who is a creator of the odds probability cone. The odds probability cone is a great way to just kind of look at defined probability and see where the probability of a stock, equity, whatever, going in a certain direction. So if I plot this, I will do this, and then let's just double click on it here. And you'll see that by default in MetaStock older versions, you would see one cone, this larger cone. And when we talked to Don, he was like, well, you know, I think really one of the best ways to see this is actually with multiple probabilities, a tighter probability with a wider probability. So this is one of the first tools to have this new version of the odds probability cone inside of MetaStock 18. And you can see these two different cones in here. So you can change your look back period. You can add in additional probabilities. So let's say I wanted to go to 33%. I could add that and apply it, and you'll see it will add in as many as you want. You can also use a specific volatility. If I just select that and click apply, it will add that. But we want the historical volatility over a certain number of periods. So we're going to do that. And then we also added in this ability to do a drift per period. And drift per period is kind of just a shift based off of subtle probabilities. And it's a good way to just kind of look at it. And I'm going to do a major drift here just to show you. We would probably do like 0.00005 or something like that, but I'll just do a major one to show you how that shifts the probabilities. So this was great. We, like I said, we worked with Don Fishback on adding this in. First place that you can get this new odds probability cone with the multiple probabilities and the settings that Don wanted. So great addition there. Things like Andrew's pitchfork. We made major changes to Andrew's pitchfork where you can come in now and I'm not going to do a class on Andrew's pitchfork here, but I wanted to show you. So if I plot Andrew's pitchfork, standard plot, and I go into the settings, you can now calculate it in multiple ways. So if I can calculate it on standard, shift, modified shift. So these are all different methods for calculating out Andrew's pitchfork's methods. Okay, so if I just click this, you'll see it'll change it. I can also add warning lines. So if I add, let's say, 5 warning lines here, it'll actually expand out and give me more depth on my pitchfork so I can actually see more. And I can also add in custom lines and really play with this. So and then again, save it as a default. So great, awesome additions to that. Let's see, Andrew's pitchfork. Easier to access text properties, so you can kind of get in, change your text a little bit easier and save those settings are some of those defaults there. We talked about Andrew's pitchfork. Okay, X and Y axis labels. We're not going to spend a lot of time in the X and Y axis, but I'm going to show you a few things that we've done. And you probably maybe already noticed this as we were going through and looking at some of these charts. And let me just right click here and apply template. And by the way, we did go through and update all the templates to look a little more modern with the new chart. So you'll notice that some of these built-in templates look a lot crisper and more enhanced. So let's go ahead and go into the popular template. And when I plot this, you will now see that you have the indicator values on the y-axis. So this is actually something that people have been asking for, is the ability to see their indicator values on the y-axis. So that is now there. You can go into the y-axis properties and you can turn that on and off if you want to see them or you don't want to see them. And you can do it per window. So it's actually a nice way to do it. Let's bring up a clean chart here so I can show you some other things. You can drag and drop the scale. That's always been there, but it's a lot cleaner now. It's easier to do, and you can still reset it. But some other things over here that we've added in is these abilities to look at this in the plotting style in different ways. So if I do symbol definition integer, we can change it, and you'll see that this will plot out based off of what you choose. You can either even do fractions and have it display in fractional prices if you want to. So you can really manipulate this to show how you want to have it show. Let's go back to system definition. This is one I like, is you can now do grid bands. You could always do grid lines, but now you can do grid bands, which are these type of gradation on your chart. And let's go down here. Let's go into the x-axis. You can do that same grid bands if you want to for the other way and have them show. And then finally, we've kind of cleaned this window up again where you can now do more manipulation of the data, how it's being displayed, all right here. So, and I can minimize, maximize this as part of it as well. So that's all some great little changes to the axes there. Okay, some other updates in the chart. So these are just some little quality of life things, but make life a lot easier. One of the things that people have told us is that they want to be able to set their own timeframes inside of MetaStock and not have to change custom timeframes every time they go into a chart. So we took that in down here. If I come down here to the daily button here, you can see I have quite a number of my predefined charting times, but I also have these additional 4 down here. So you can build your own 4 custom timeframes that you can switch to, and it does an MRU, a most recently used. So if I do, let's say, a 75-minute, and then change that, you'll see one big difference here too is it will show you what time frame you're looking at down here. So instead of saying I for just intraday, it tells you what you're looking at. I'm looking at an intraday minute 75. Okay, so that it'll show me what I'm looking at in my time frame there. If I go down to a 7-minute, it'll do IM 7. If I do, let's do a 3, maybe a 3-day, and choose OK, you'll see it'll say daily 3-bar. So it builds a custom 3-bar. And so that will remember my most recent 4 right there. So it's easy to change between the timeframes that you want if you have your own custom timeframes that you work with. Okay, so there's that's that and that's that. Oh, some other things that will actually save in the Power Console. So if I come in here to the Power Console, when I'm loading a chart, it will show those same 4 timeframes right there. It'll also show in the the Explorer and the System Tester and the Forecaster in any of those tabs. So some great additions right there. Change tile settings as charts load. So if you're loading 30 charts or 100 charts, you can start moving charts around as they load. You can allow your chart to show inactivity gaps and set your time zone. So if I were to come in here now, close Power Console, go to right click, go to chart window properties. you have the option to change your time zone here. And if I go to trading sessions, you can also display your inactivity gaps. So you can change that right there as well. So there's some other chart enhancements that we've done. Now, there are a lot of other little subtle enhancements and things that we've changed along the way. And I mean, we've already spent 35 minutes on the chart, and we could spend a lot more time, but we're going to kind of take that as the major highlights of things that we've added in and changed. As you're playing with your MetaStock 18, you're going to notice a lot of other little things, and you're going to go, wow, that makes my life so much better, so much easier, and it's going to help you so much. So we're very excited about the new chart and what we've put into the new chart and what's come of it. We've already been getting awesome feedback from those people that have gotten MetaStock 18 and what they can do with it. So some big updates there with the chart. Now, we still do have a lot to cover of other things inside of MetaStock 18. So beyond just the chart, we've actually done a lot of other things as well. And I'd like to take a few minutes to cover. So some of these enhancements in the Power Console will change your life, I guarantee it. It's going to help. If I come in here and I go into the Power Console, we're going to start right here on the chart tab. And you're going to notice a few things over here. Over here on the side, you can minimize and maximize all these settings. Once you kind of set things, you can minimize it so you don't have to look at all. But some of my favorite things are right here. And the big one right here is this search. And what this search does, it's different than the instrument search, which you can use to find symbols. But this will let me look through by lists down here to identify folders that have whatever I'm searching for in. So let's just say, for example, I type in Apple. Okay, so if I scroll in Apple, you'll see my list here changed. And if I now expand some of these, you'll see that I have just a few lists rather than everything that's built into MetaStock. So it's just now showing me everything that has Apple in it. So it makes it easy for me to find something. If I was looking for, say, Tesla, so you can see as I start typing, it narrows down and just shows me what exactly matches what I'm looking for. So I can see where things are contained. I can go ahead and click this and open up that chart, but it makes it easy, excuse me, for me to be able to identify where something is as I go through and look for it in that search. And I can just clear it out. And where this is helpful is for things like, oh, well, I'm looking for, say, crude oil. If I type crude oil, it's just going to find me things that have crude oil in the name. So it can make searching for symbols easy. You can search by searching by name easy. And that is a great, easy addition. So I just had a question over in YouTube. Is it possible to zoom in and out of charts using mouse and scroll wheel? Yeah, I'll just jump over to that really quick before we go into other things. So if I just use the scroll wheel on the chart, I'm just scrolling my mouse. You can see it does zoom back and forth. I can also click and hold the mouse, and I can move it back and forth by holding and clicking the mouse as well. That is new right there. So yeah, so you can absolutely do that. I can just kind of click and move and drag around. So great question, Ans. I hope I said that right. Okay, other things here in the Power Console, and I love this one. This one has changed my life. So if I come in here into the explorations, you're going to notice this looks different from other versions of MetaStock where you had kind of that tree view, you'd plus and minus it. So now it's just this view where you can come in and just select the ones that you want. But one of the challenges is there's a lot of systems and strategies built into MetaStock is finding the one that you want. Sometimes you scroll past it, you move past it, you kind of coming back and forth. What you can do now is I can come in here and let's just say I wanted the MACD. Okay, so I'm just going to start typing MACD up here in the search, and you'll see it narrows down and it just finds things that match any keyword inside the scan. So I can now see, oh, okay, there's the MACD expert system that I was looking for, or the buy signal that I was looking for. So there's some great quick additions there just to quickly find something. And if I was looking for, say RMO. I could type in RMO and it would just bring me up scans that contain the words RMO. So easy, quick ways to identify what you're looking for. We've also enhanced the favorites, because you'll notice up here we don't have that favorites section up here anymore. We've moved it up over here to its own tab. So let's just say that I was looking for candlesticks. Okay, so there's my candlestick scans. Let's just go ahead and select all of these. I can then right click and go add selected explorations to favorites, and it will add all 6 of those to favorites. So now I can just go ahead and clear out my search and come over here to favorites, and there's my candlestick scans right there. So I can just go to my favorites, select all, run my scan. Makes it a lot easier to get to where you're going quickly, and again, make your life easier, because again, that one has changed my life, because I can quickly go and find what I want, not have to scroll up and down and kind of bounce around through things. We've also done that same enhancement over here in the system tester. So you can actually go through and scan for system tests. Just say looking for ACT, it would bring them all up that had what you were looking for in there. So that is an awesome feature inside the Power Console. So those are some of the enhancements we've done to the Power Console. Let's go ahead and go back to our PowerPoint here. Quote Center, we've made a gainers and losers bar. So what that is, if I come in here and I load a list, let's just load this Quote Center demo list. If I click open, what it will do is it will go ahead and open up my list as it always has, but it's added this gainers losers bar up here. Let's go ahead and maximize this. So you can see now I had 98 in there. So you can see 81 or 82% are gainers today, and then 17 losers or 17% down. Okay, so it's a quick way for me to gauge what's going on with my watch list. And you can load the S&P 500 if you wanted to, or you can load your own list and it will show this as part of it. When you'll notice over here, we don't have that bar over here on the side to change your settings. It's now just this, takes less real estate, but you can change and view the different themes. And when you set a theme, it also opens up that theme over in Option Scope as well. One of this little subtle difference we've made to Option Scope, to Quote Center, let's go ahead and close this, is if I come into Chart and I set up a template here for my opening, let's just do Bollinger Band template, and I go back and I open up my list out of Quote Center again. Now when I click on a chart to open it, what it'll do is it'll use that template that I set in the Power Console. Okay, if you see, you can see that it's loaded with the Bollinger Bands right there. I've got it on my other screen here for just a second so I can show you, but as I click through it, you'll notice it does go ahead and load those charts with the template. So that's another way to customize your MetaStock a little bit. Okay, let's go ahead and close all these charts. Let's skip these alerts. Let's close these charts. And let's talk about what's new. Sorry, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to say close all. My bad. All right, so apologies for that. The next thing we're going to talk about is Option Scope. So when we talk to users, there are a lot of our users that trade options and want to do options analysis. So we've made some great enhancements into Option Scope. And the first one here is this put call ratio for option sentiment. And I like this one a lot. Put call ratios are an important part of options trading, because you can see, who's buying, or if it's being bought, if it's being sold, where the open interest is. And this is kind of a little bit of a different take on that, because what you can do, let's go ahead here and open up, let's go to Option Scope. And let's go ahead and just bring up Apple. Okay, and let's do expires the next 90 days. Let's do strike price filter, and let's just do monthlies. Okay, and let's go ahead and bring that up here. Now, as this loads, you're going to notice it does look very different. There's a lot new here. But what I want to focus on first is this dialog box up here at the top. So this is our options sentiment viewer, or put call ratio, whatever, however you'd like to put it. And what it does is it sums up a total of the volume and the open interest on both the call and the put side for what you have selected. So it's not everything that's available for Apple options. You can load all available options if you want to and see that. But this is just focusing on what you're looking at. So if I'm just looking at the monthlies for the next 90 days, that is a focus of this. Okay, so I am seeing open interest at, you can see open interest is on the call side is much higher than it is on the put side. And you can see that just graphically in that bar right there. Then you can also see volume is also higher on the call side than it is on the put side. So you're getting this view of sentiment. Now, even if you're not an options trader, how is this beneficial? Well, one, as an options trader, it's beneficial because you can see where everyone else thinks the buying side, where the sentiment is. It's on the call side. Okay, people are thinking the stock's going to go up. So there's a lot of interest on the call. There's a lot of volume on the call. So that's where our sentiment is. That's where our interest is. So if you're not an options trader, how's that beneficial? Well, let's say you get a buy signal today. Well, you can come in and look at the sentiment of the options and see if that aligns with the sentiment of the options trader. So you can put those two together to kind of pull it all in as one big picture. Okay, the other thing I can do with this option sentiment viewer is you'll see these top buttons. Okay, the top one here matches volume. This one, open interest. So if I click top, what it's going to do is look for the top option on volume. So if I click that again, so I can highlight it here. So you'll see this one is the top volume. Rather than me scrolling through and trying to compare and contrast on both sides, I can just do it right here. I should have brought my water in. So I apologize for a little bit of a dry throat there. Okay, I can also do that on the open interest. Okay, turns out there it's actually the same one. It's not always the same one, but you can see the top open interest and the top volume both on the call side right now. Okay, it could be on the put side depending on what you're looking at, but it will balance that out for you. So it's actually a really cool view to do that. Thank you, Jeff, is bringing me my water. I'm just going to mute it for a second and take a drink. Much better. Thank you. Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate that. Jeff's doing a great job over there in the control room, bringing me water and everything. All right. So that is the options viewer. Some other things before we get down here, we've also changed the grid settings up here. Again, you don't have that sidebar. It's just this easy to use dialog box where you can change your settings and then move it up here. Okay. And again, you can change your themes. You can set your Greeks, columns. All of this is still all in here as customizations, but it's now easier to get to here. So let's actually just look at, we're getting up on expiration on February. So let's take that one out of the picture. So let's say I was looking at March and April, and I'm interested in the top volume right here. Okay, so this is my top volume right here. So let's say I now wanted to trade that. I wanted to do a long call on it, but I wanted to see what my risk was going to be on it. So we did go ahead and put in risk strategies and an options risk strategy system down here. So you can now plot risk graphs right out of this. And we've tried to make this really easy. You can see we have a number of different strategies built in here. And what I'm going to do is just take a basic example. Let's do a long call. And what it will do is it just asks me here, okay, which option am I interested in? We're going to do a call, a buy, and I have all these options to fill in here, but I know which one I want. Let's go back and let's search my top volume here. Let's just click this one. And what it will do is it'll auto-populate that when I click it. You can see if I click it again, it moves. If I click it again, it moves. But let's look at this top volume one right here. Okay, so I've set this now for a strike price of 200. That was the option I selected. Buy price 9 cents. So where that is coming from is taking the last price or the ask right there. So that's our price. You can change that if you wanted to go off of the bid or the ask and change that based to get a different calculation. And then number of contracts. So let's just say I change that to 5. It'll calculate that out for me as well. So you can manipulate this right here. Okay, down here, what it will do is it'll show me my profit loss, what I am looking at. Let's go ahead and let's just zoom this in just a little bit. Up a little too far. Let's reset that. We'll refresh the chart. That's how you refresh it right there. Okay, so what this shows me is my break-even point, my underlying price. So this is where my underlying price is right now. Here's my break-even point, and also my, so I've got my break-even point, my underlying price, and my long call. So these are the lines that it's showing right here. You can change the colors if you'd like to right there. And then what it'll do is it'll show me what my risk is up here. You can see that, and you can change the text color if this doesn't show well for you. But then you can see what, as price goes up, what kind of money you'd make. So if my price went up to 210, I'd be looking at a profit of $4,800. Okay, so you can go through and you can analyze this and do these different risk graphs. If I were doing a long put, let's just choose a put, and you can see that same, here's my risk, here's my reward. So you can go through and you can change all these. And again, I'm not going to go through all these different strategies in this video, but you can go through and you can manipulate and change all of these and play with it. So this is a big addition. Let's just say you're doing a straddle. It'll tell you exactly what you need to put in. And again, this isn't how you would do this. You do some analysis first, but I'm just going to click a call and I'll click a put, and there's my straddle right there. Okay, so this makes it really easy to be able to just bounce around and plot risk on your strategies. Okay, so that is everything that's new in Option Scope. I still have a bit to cover here, so we might go just a few minutes over, so bear with me. I'll try to keep it to a minimum of what's new in there. So let's talk about the new systems inside of MetaStock. So the first thing that we added was the Performance Systems Plus. Then we did some updates to the Haguro system and then added some new indicators from Daryl Guppy, some stop indicators, and we'll talk about each of these. And what the Performance Systems Plus is this is actually our best-selling add-on of all time. So this has been a system that's been around for quite a while. It includes 54 systems and strategies. Now inside MetaStock currently, and 17 previous, you have 26 of the performance systems built in. We've taken the Performance Systems Plus, which gives you an additional 54, and we made it 80 systems and strategies. So now all the performance systems, the 80 systems and strategies, are all built into MetaStock. And what these are, here's a list of all 54. I'm not going to talk about each system individually. We're not going to do that today. But this is a list of everything that's in here. All these are, you can scan for them, you can back test on them, they have expert advisors. So there are full systems that you can use inside of MetaStock. And how these were set up is they were actually taken and tested over 10,000 different combinations of systems and stocks. So basically like, okay, out of these 10,000, what works best on this stock, this stock, this stock, this stock, and kind of really tested it out to see which were the best performing stocks. They were tested over daily stock data, no trade delay, no stops included, just buy and sell performance. Low price, low volume stocks were not included, and deemed desirable if trade efficiency was positive for more than 50% of all stocks analyzed. So these were really time tested, taken and tested over time to see which ones perform the best, and then put into this system so you can actually go through and now test them yourself against the stocks that you trade, the crypto, the Forex, the futures, whatever it may be, and see how they work. Okay, so let's take one of the, and this is another reason why this is great inside of MetaStock here. So let's just say I wanted to back test all the performance systems. So I can just come in here and go search PS. there's all the performance systems. I can just select them all with one click. And then let's just run a system test against, say, Tesla. Okay, I'll go ahead and run my system test. And so you can see it's a lot easier now to just search, select, scan, rather than trying to do that. So let's go ahead now and view results. And based off of the settings that I had in there, you can see the PS Arun reversal system was the top performing over time. Okay, and it's going to be different for every stock and amounts in your system. So you're going to want to go in and set your system tester parameters. Now we've done 25 new training videos on MetaStock 18 and everything that's included in it. All those are up on YouTube, so you can go check out all the new training videos as you go through MetaStock 18 as well. We've also updated Unleash the Power of MetaStock, which shows how to do all these awesome tests. So we're not going to do that here, but you'll get access to that when you get your MetaStock 18. Okay, and then I could just, let's go ahead and open up Tesla. Let's go back to chart here. Okay, so we have Tesla here, and let's go ahead and put on, let's do a clean template here so we can see this. Okay, so once I've identified that, I could go put on my system. You can see again, we have the expert advisor for every system. So if I go PS or Arun reversal, I can then attach that and put it on my chart, and it will give me the expert advisor for it. Okay, so you can see that that's a quick, easy way to identify signals and look for systems with the new Performance Systems Plus. The Performance Systems Plus, again, 80 strategies now included inside of MetaStock for you. So get in there, play with those, back test them, see what works, and play with it there. Now let's talk about some of the other things in here. So Daryl Guppy, we worked with Daryl Guppy to actually put in, he actually came to us and said, hey, I provide these awesome stop indicators to my students. So I would like to provide it in MetaStock and make it just part of MetaStock. So we analyzed it and was like, yeah, this is awesome. Thanks, Daryl. And so we put it into MetaStock. So what these are is it's a way to help you manage your risk. It's a way to set a stop based off of ATR, or average true range, average movement of a stock. So we are providing a trailing stop using ATR, and it's got two different indicators if you go long or you go short. So what it does is it takes a multiplier of the ATR to give you where you should be setting your stop based off your strategy. So you use your strategy, whatever strategy it is you trade with, and then what you do is you come in here and you apply the stop, and it'll help you manage that trade and know when to get out based off of movements, based off of the ATR. So let's go ahead and go into MetaStock. I'm actually going to do something that trades maybe a little more frequently here, just for this example. Let's put on the MACD here onto Tesla. Okay, and let's just say that we're going to take a trade in the past here. Okay, let's take this trade right here as an example. So what I would do is, I'm looking in the past. When you're plotting it on, say, today's trade, you would know what to do. But what we're going to do is look at 10/12/21. And the reason why the date's important is when you come in here and you plot the indicator, it's labeled as GT Traders ATR Long. Okay, and I go ahead and I plot that, is you have to put in the date that you're entering the trade. So start day of the month, so it's the 12th, 10/21. Okay, so 10/12/21. We'll leave the Daryl's defaults, number of periods and ATR multiplier, and then you can set it to calculate off the close or the low. Daryl recommends the close, but he likes to give people the option of the low, so we'll go ahead and leave that. And we're going to go ahead and merge with scale on the right. And you'll see what this does is it'll trail the stock as it moves, because it's using that ATR or movement to help you gauge when you should get out. So as long as you have not touched the price, you are in a valid trade. Once it penetrates that line, you'll see the line goes flat because it's penetrated the line. That tells you that it's time to exit and get out of that trade. And that was a great example of that because you can see it moves right along, and as soon as it penetrates, we have that reversal. So if I was plotting it on today, I could go in here and put 15, 2, 21, and 22. Let's go ahead and change that. And you'll see I just have a dot there. So as the bar, as it calculates, it will update and move with that position and then tell you when to get out. Okay, apologies there. Felt a sneeze coming on, but I don't need to sneeze now. Okay, so that is an example of it. You can also set it for short signals. So if I come in and I go short, I go Guppy Trader short, it'll be under GT, Trader short. Okay, and then I plotted on here, I forgot to get a date. But we'll make up a date. Okay, and you can see it invalidated. So let's just say my sell signal was right here. It came down. Once it penetrates there, it gets you out of the trade. So you can see it would have gotten us out before the MACD reversed. It's a great way to manage your trades and help boost that trade. All right, so that's the Guppy APTR. This slide is if you're using MetaStock end of day, it'll now allow you to have one login instead of two. So you don't have to log into one screen with your email. You just put in your data link, user ID, and password, and it will give you all your information. So easy to log in with MetaStock end of day now. MetaStock Pro will stay the same login. Now, here in this presentation, obviously I've been talking to you about what's new inside MetaStock 18. And there's a lot in there. What I'd actually encourage you to do, this is my contact information. You go to metastock.com. You can call me if you have any questions or email me. But the best way is let's actually just pull up a web page here so I can show you. So if you go to metastock.com, and then you'll see this banner right here on the homepage. If you click MetaStock 18 is here, check it out, and you click on that, it'll take you to this page. Now, if you're new to MetaStock and you need to get a copy of MetaStock, you can actually just click on this purchase options here, or if you want to learn about upgrading, you can click on the upgrade options, and that will take you to the upgrade page to learn about your upgrade pricing. It'll vary depending on what version of MetaStock that you have. So you'll want to go to that homepage, click on what's new, and then just click upgrade, and it'll take you to this page, or click on that purchase now option. You can also chat with our sales staff right here. So chat with us live, and that will take us to the MetaStock chat where you can chat with one of our awesome sales guys who can answer any questions you have about MetaStock. There's some awesome upgrade specials going right now. And one of the other things that we also did along with this is we worked with one of the biggest names in technical analysis, Tushar Chandy, and he has developed all of his systems for MetaStock as well. So we have a brand new add-on from Tushar Chandy that you can get with your upgrade to MetaStock 18. It's normally $499 for the add-on. We're running $150 off with your upgrade or purchase of MetaStock. So you can save $150 off with our launch special. And there's a great little video here you can watch about this new add-on. We're not going to cover it in this video. But again, one of the biggest names in technical analysis. He developed the system with Stanley Kroll, the stochastic RSI combination. But there's a lot of other work that he has done, which is awesome, and you'll love that work as well. So I encourage you to take that out. Now, the big thing is too, is all of this is available on a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you try out MetaStock 18, you don't like it, which I'd be shocked if you didn't, you can go ahead and try it out through there. The two-shard handy is complete toolkit is also available on a 30-day money-back guarantee. So I encourage you to try them both. See what's available in here. You've learned a lot of the new features that are available inside MetaStock 18. As always, our sales staffs are ready to help you. Our support staff can help you get it up and running and installed and teach you a little bit about some of these new features. So I would like to thank you for coming in and spending some time here with me on a Tuesday morning, learning about MetaStock 18. I, as always, wish you successful trading, and thanks for spending the day with me. Have a good one.